What's new, 802? I'm Becca Hammond, and you're listening to Burlington Talks. Burlington Talks may include graphic or explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. On this week's episode, we are going to be talking with Remi Russin. And Remi's doing something really cool right now. He's actually combining music from local artists who've been affected by the current crisis and making Spotify playlists out of them. And now, after all of these weeks, he's actually going to be airing these on the radio on Big Heavy World's radio station, 105.9 FM. And that's going to be airing on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. So you can tune in tomorrow on the radio and check out the good work that Remi's been doing, trying to help out these bands and keep our music culture alive right now, which is so important. We love our musicians, we love our artists, and let's be fair, right now they're keeping us sane. They're keeping me sane. The name of Remi's show is BTV Quarentunes. So that's what he's up to. Besides that, Remi also knows 3 chords on the ukulele, and he just bought some pretty sweet pants. Thank you so much, Remi, for being on the show today. Can you tell me your full name and a little bit about what you're doing?
Sure. My name is Remi Russin, and I am making weekly roundup playlists for what I'm listening to while I'm social distancing to get over the
hump.
Yeah, the hump. Yeah.
The mountain.
The mountain.
The never-ending expanse of time that we find ourselves
the ever increasing.
Oh, that's great. Solitude. So the playlist, tell me a little bit about them. I think I saw that they're on Spotify.
Yeah, I've been mostly just building them on Spotify, and then kind of sharing them out on Facebook through the DIY Burlington page. Been talking with Jim over at Big Heavy World about doing a weekly broadcast. We're that's in the works as of now.
Cool.
But that's.
So are you talking about doing that right now? I haven't talked to Jim. I'm not sure how they're running the radio station. I knew that something had blown, so they had to replace it. But are they up and running again? Is this going to be happening soon?
Yeah, they should be up and running now, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I don't know if they're having folks into the studio. I think in part because of their technical difficulties and in part just because no one's going anywhere right now.
Right.
But I think they are broadcasting at the moment.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I thought, is they had a way set up so they didn't actually have to be in the building at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool. But that's awesome. So tell me a little bit more about the playlist. Are they local people? Are they any sort of genre in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep it mostly local. I started out, I was kind of just building one big one. This was back in like the beginning of March when things just started to happen. And originally the idea was, okay, everybody who's had to cancel a show because of quarantining, I'm going to make a playlist with those folks. And then April hit and it was clear that this wasn't going away and it was going to continue to escalate. And it was clear that scrolling through Facebook for all of these shows that were going to inevitably get dropped was just not going to be sustainable. So I just kind of switched it and started playing stuff that I was listening to week to week.
Smart. There's so many bands that are suffering right now, and social media. It's so hard to find people. Like I write software, and I've been on Facebook for, however long now, 10 years plus now.
Yeah.
Their algorithm is such garbage. It's really sad what Facebook has turned into, because it's basically a marketing scheme. And they only show you, they even have said this, if you read up on how their algorithm works, they only show you 30 of your friends. So if you have 1,000 friends, you only see 30 people posting, but you will see sponsored ads and you'll see a bunch of paid junk in your feed all the time, but you'll never see your friends from high school anymore. They literally made it so you can't see these people. So it drives me nuts because I have so many bands that I follow in town, and so many different bands had shows that I was excited to go to, had album releases, had awesome things happening this spring. This spring was going to be so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of like Waking Windows in particular. I took that off of work like in January.
Oh, oh no. Yeah. See,
Yeah, well,
and the more you think about it, the more you remember that's not happening, and it's just upsetting.
right.
So it's good to kind of bring those people together because it's hard to find them. Like you can't find them on Facebook. It's really good. You can go on a playlist, kind of listen to people who are gonna appreciate your ears right now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's a little less. I mean, people have been doing a lot of live streaming, and that's great.
It's also hard to find. Like that's
hard.
another weird one. Unless you're subscribed with notifications to a band, you might not even know that they went live. A lot of the bands that I follow, I had no idea and I missed it.
Yeah, and even when you do find them, I mean, listening to somebody that you really enjoy over a phone speaker or like music that I make, I wouldn't want to broadcast that to people with like my phone microphone. And so I think now is a really great time to go back and read up on folks' recorded catalogs. You know, listen to people's albums that you said were good, but you maybe didn't sit down and really spend the time with when it came out.
Right. Oh yeah, that happens all the time. And
yeah, I'm guilty of it as anybody.
And being a fan, that's it. If you like going to shows and you like the bands and you like meeting people, there's a lot of music to listen to to actually be up to date. So it's good. Yeah, right now we have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about you. Where do you live?
Right now I live in Winooski.
The Onion.
The Onion is it's a nice little onion.
Do you have any idea why it's called The Onion? I've never looked it up and I've been curious, but I don't know if you know.
I'm gonna don't quote me on this. You're definitely, I'm gonna get fact checked for sure, but I think it's something to the effect of Native Americans who lived around here referred to the river as the Onion River.
Okay, that has some validity. I could see that.
But yeah, my Vermont history is not as good as I would claim it to be. So
I think Winooski's kind of like, it's just one of the funniest towns in Vermont because it's just something about the attitude in the town, and there's kind of just this like joking
it's
attitude.
It's such a small, like it's a really small town that refuses to be a small town.
Yeah, that's exactly what it seems like. Like the people in Winooski have the small Vermont town attitude with a lot of people.
yeah. You know, I mean, the whole town is like what, like I think a square mile.
Yeah, it's definitely the smallest of our little borough towns in the, the Queen City area in Vermont. It's tiny, and there's so many people in Winooski. It's kind of
it's very, very dense.
It's funny, and this one I do know about Winooski. Random factoid: they actively discussed putting a dome over the city in I think the late 80s. Because they didn't want to deal with snow removal. So they thought that they were going to put a dome over the city of Winooski. Because, I mean, it's only 1 square mile or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. It's not that big. You've got my vote.
Such a funny, it's just funny that was something discussed in an actual town meeting setting. Like, that is Winooski. Like, that makes sense to me that Winooski would do that.
It was a different time.
I'm still I would get behind that. That sounds amazing.
Dome 2020.
Yeah, right. The dome. It's just like, wasn't that the Simpsons movie had the dome in it? It was totally ridiculous.
I think it was the Simpsons movie, yeah.
There's been a lot of random spoofs of domes over cities, but I think Winooski could pull it off. I could also see Winooski having like sky trams, like in a dome with sky trams.
Then we'd have like 3 stops.
Yeah, exactly. It would be like the smallest little area ever, but they would still do it. Oh, I could see it. It would be great too. That would be really, if they actually did something like that, that would drive so much like tourist traffic and just interest.
Come see the world's smallest monorail.
Oh man, yeah, you could literally like see both ends of the the train, watch it go all the way around and come back.
It's like those at the shopping mall when you were a kid, the little train track that you sit on and ride with your parents.
Basically, it could almost be that train if they put the dome over it.
Yeah.
Literally, it's just going to be one of those little trains. Yep. And we'll just hang it in the sky.
Yes.
Oh man, poor Winooski. There's gonna be a bunch of angry people at me in Winooski. They're like, why are you making fun of us? I'm not making fun of you. I love you guys. You're hilarious. Yes, I love all the towns in this area. There's really not. It's funny because there's different attitudes about them, and then when you go in the town, they're all exactly the same.
Yeah, Vermont is Vermont.
Like, well, poor Milton. Milton's gotten a lot of just, I don't know, just cheek.
Oh man, yeah.
People really like to hate on Milton, and poor Milton. Yeah, I go to Milton and I'm like, what is wrong with Milton? There's no, like this is not that bad. There's definitely a lot scarier places.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not like it's Rutland.
Well, yeah, that's it. I'm like, poor Rutland too, but Rutland actually has some scary areas.
Yeah, Rutland's, yeah.
There's some scary areas in other towns, but it's funny because I go to Milton, I'm like, I don't see the problem here. We're all fighting, and we like to just rag on each other.
Yeah, what else do we have to do?
But yeah, that's part of it. I think we're all very small. We're very friendly. We like each other. So, it's like that bro relationship where you give each other crap all the time. So are you from Vermont originally?
Yeah, I grew up in Swanton. Spent most of my time there. Went to college out in Western New York. Was very graduated high school and was very I need to get out of this dairy farm of a state.
Yes. Well, when you're from Swanton, I'm from Berkshire. So yeah. Oh yeah.
You have it even worse than I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least Swanton had a grocery store.
You got the interstate at least. But yeah, and so I left as soon as I could, and as soon as I got out there, I'm like, I need to come back. So moved back when I graduated. Been here. Don't plan on going anytime soon.
Yeah. Most people who come back they came back for a reason.
Yeah.
See, I've never really left, but when I leave to travel, I think the biggest thing for me is the eye contact, because in Vermont, I make eye contact with everyone and I kind of do the little smile nod thing.
Yeah.
And I go to Montreal or I go basically anywhere that's not in Vermont. And I'm like, oh, I'm a weirdo. Oh, yeah. This is how people get robbed. I just feel very sheltered. I'm like, maybe I should just stay in Vermont because I don't know if I'm going to do very well.
The first out of state highway that I try to merge on is always a culture shock for sure.
Oh yes, because they don't move over.
They'll kill you.
It's so weird. Why do we Vermont? We literally disobey laws to give right of way when we shouldn't. I've witnessed people stop full, the entire main street traffic to try and let someone on the other side of the road take a left in front of them when there's still oncoming traffic coming.
You probably saw me do that.
I've seen this so many times. People know. No one's ever gonna move again. But it's nice.
Just get it. Yeah, if I'm stuck behind that person, I'm I get it. We would all do the same thing.
To a certain point. Because man,
that may be true.
Yeah, when it's rush hour traffic, I've had people do that to me where it's bumper to bumper, we can barely move, and they just stop and sit there for 5 minutes, and there's not going to be an opening. Please, just continue on your straight path. Yes. I shouldn't drive either. That's the other thing. I feel like I can drive really well in the snow and away from other people. But as soon as you put me in traffic, I am the horrible driver.
Well, then you're in the right place.
Yeah, well, except I live in Burlington, though. So I'm like, this is the only traffic in the state, and I'm it freaks me out. Like, I can't handle driving around other people. Like, that's a real Vermont person, I think, where we're like, oh, I'll drive through 6 inches of mud. I'll drive through 2 feet of snow.
Right.
I am not driving on a 4-lane interstate.
Oh my God. When I got my license when I was 16, I mean, in Swanton, in the wintertime, it gets pretty rough. No problem there. But like, I was not allowed to drive in Burlington until I was like 20.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't. I would absolutely. I wouldn't even drive in St. Albans when I first got my license. I was like,
God.
"There's no way," because I didn't know how to deal with 2 lanes. Like I couldn't. That was too much for me. I'm like, but what if I need to get in the other lane? They're flying by me. I'm scared. I'm pretty sure I made someone drive me to my SATs because I could not handle driving in St. Albans, which anyone who knows St. Albans is probably laughing at me right now because nothing really in St. Albans. I mean, there's 2-lane roads for like a mile.
Where?
There's sorry, I should say 4 lanes, like 2 lanes going 1 4-lane road, and it's right next to like Hannaford and it's just that one strip in between where the old Energizer building used to be and the interstate off ramp.
Yeah, they've got that like 1/16th of a mile passing.
Right, it's literally like not a thing that's difficult to anyone, and I couldn't handle that because I grew up parallel parking in between tractors. I mean, I don't know how to deal with humans.
That's ingenuity, though.
Oh, it's funny. It's funny to think about. I like talking to people who are from the boonies, kind of, because no one knows where Berkshire is. So it's fun to talk to you. You know where Berkshire is, because it's
Franklin County represent.
How far away is it from Swan? It's probably like 20 miles due east, because it's right on the border too, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it might even be less than that actually, because it's just actually Highgate, Franklin, Berkshire.
Are you guys next to Franklin?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And we have the border too. Like I grew up the North Road in Berkshire. Literally it was a dead end into Canada, basically. There's there was a road you could take that turned off, but the actual North Road literally just ends at someone's property, basically in Canada. It's kind of weird.
That sounds about right.
It's fun up there though, because there are no people. There's there's no people.
There's just the cows and border patrol to catch you when you make a wrong turn.
Yeah, basically, and a lot of them too.
Yeah,
like way more than there used to be. Which we won't get into all of that, but man, there's a lot of random people walking across the border.
Oh yeah. A lot of people who don't even realize they just walked across the border.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you can walk. Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure my father went fishing in Canada. I don't think he even realized, but I think he walked into Canada because he said he walked for a pretty long distance in the direction of Canada and then came back. Like,
This may or may not be Canada.
There's supposed to be they say there's a border strip of like there's trees cut out along the border.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true on the little strip where I'm from though, because it's kind of a valley, so I should be able to see it. And you can't see it.
Yeah,
so I think you might just wander into Canada. Oh, that's fun. So, okay. All right. Back to the music. Let's get back into the playlist. So tell me, what kind of music do you like to listen to so we can kind of tell people what kind of music they can expect?
I mostly try to listen to like indie pop, indie rock, that kind of scene.
Cool.
When it comes to local stuff though, I'll branch out a little bit. I try to support whoever I can. But that's really my wheelhouse is, indie pop, shoegazy kind of stuff.
Cool. Do you have any specific bands that you really are into?
Like around here?
Here or anywhere, really. Local is good too.
Sure.
Not local, also good.
Locally, I really love No Drums. The Onlys, well, they're in New York now. But they are great. I don't know. Lately, I've been listening to like a lot of Talk, a lot of Cocteau Twins. that kind of vibe, pure bathing culture.
Cool. I know nothing. I've never even heard of these bands. No Drums. Is that the one? Did you say they're in New York or they're in Vermont still?
No, that's they're out of Burlington. That's Braden Baird's project right now. I don't know if you might know the Thursday Tories. He fronted that beforehand.
There's so many bands in town. It's kind of nuts.
It's especially for such a small town. The fact that we have a scene that I would expect to see like this much like saturation of music in I don't know, a much bigger market than Burlington.
Yeah, we have a very serious arts. Well, it's weird because I don't see. We have artists. I know they're out, but I guess that when you're an artist, you don't come and talk to people like the musicians do, because the musicians are super vocal. Like, I have met many musicians. They're all fabulous people. I'm so glad they reach out to me. But I'm like, where are the artists? I know there's people making cool stuff, like physically making things that isn't music.
I have been trying to get into the art scene around here for so long, and I just can't find like an in. I agree with you. I just have no finger on that pulse.
I'm gonna have to find these people. I'll let you know when I find them.
Please do. If you meet one of them, send them my way.
They're out there somewhere. They've got to be. They're making cool art randomly around the city. Even that's what's funny about it is you see the art, but I don't hear it. I don't hear anyone talking. Like, what's going on, guys? Talk to me. Tell me about it.
They're not talking to me. That's for sure.
Well, apparently we're both on the outs. Let's do something fun first. What's your favorite part of living in the area?
Oh, that's a great question.
I love all the different responses I've gotten to this one too, because people blow my mind with the things they think of.
Oh, let me sit on that for a second.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, you can fester. We'll come back to that one.
Okay.
So what is your, before this entire ridiculous, we'll just call it the crisis, the pandemic has started, what was your life like? Where did you work?
I work in mental health. I'm still working.
Good.
Yeah, that's been nice. That's been, at least one kind of straw of normalcy that I can grasp at.
So are you working online right now?
I'm not. So I work in a residential center for folks. So I'm still going in every day.
Good on you.
Yeah, it's
stressful. Oh my God, I can't imagine how stressful that must be.
Yeah, and I'm really lucky. I'm fairly healthy. Everybody in my immediate circle is pretty healthy. But to the folks who are going in who are not as privileged, they are. My heart goes out to them for sure.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's nuts to me. It's killing me that I know how much most grocery workers make.
Yeah.
And I know they don't get benefits. And right now, we're basically telling them they have to work in a situation where the amount that the hospital can charge them for treatment is more than they make in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it really is making me sick, the whole situation. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. But yes, my heart goes out to everybody right now, all of the people who have to leave their homes, because leaving your home once you've been stuck in it for a week, you almost get scared. So I can't imagine every single day having to go out and face that and talk, face people, different people you don't know.
Mm.
Oh, it's scary.
It's a scary time for sure.
It's so good that people, health workers, mental health is so important. And I really thank you for continuing to work and just be there for people, because right now people need help so much.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, folks. I'm gonna hop on a soapbox for a second, but I mean, especially folks who already struggle with mental health. This is another weight to just stack right on top of them, and
a heavy one too.
And a really heavy one.
I am totally willing to admit that I struggle with anxiety and depression. so many people do, and it's one of these
Yeah.
topics that no one wants to talk about. It's embarrassing to admit. You don't want to say this, but for me, this has been a really, really hard thing because your anxiety triggers just start
Yeah.
building up. Like all of these things that in your normal life you can walk away from the situation, or go see a friend, go do something to take yourself out and distract yourself. Not having that has been very, very hard. So I'm sure, and
Yeah.
I'm not someone who's I can get out of bed, and a lot of people can't get out of bed in the morning. Like they struggle so badly. Some people
Yeah.
that I can't. Oh, I can't even imagine how bad this must be, especially for people who live alone and also deal with that.
Yeah, I agree.
So thank you. And thank you to
Well,
anyone who's working and listening to this, because I think this one's going to come out next Tuesday. I
okay,
wanted
great.
to get this out quickly because I think it's good that you're helping support people who need the support right now.
I appreciate that. And if you're not one of those folks going out every day, I mean, thank you for staying home too.
Yeah, stay home as much as you can.
Yeah.
It's so hard. There's so many people who are so upset right now about, like, they feel like their freedom's being violated, basically. It's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just try not to go to anger, though, like that, because if you're angry right now, you're not going to get out of that. That's going to be so painful for so long.
Yeah, I agree. Anger is really dangerous right now, and despair is really dangerous right now. Just kind of resigning to things is also really easy to do right now, but also absolutely not what we need to get through it.
Yeah, we need to be having conversations about it too. And I'm trying to remember if it was Matt Kimball or it might have even been Jim at Big Heavy World. Somebody posted on Facebook about how we're all addicted to work in this country, and it's very much it's something imposed on us. It's not even really something we all want to do, but the
Right.
media pushes it on us, and there's societal expectations that if you're not working, that's really bad.
Right.
And right now, no one is working. And that as soon as the green light comes, that, you need to be back to work, the media is going to be like pushing this on us really hard. It was a really fascinating article about being gaslit, basically.
Yeah, I read that. I read that same article.
It was really fascinating, and it's definitely going to happen. Like, they're going to try and make us feel like this was no big deal. And this is a really big deal. Like, this is a significant thing. And hopefully this is one of the most significant things that our generation has to deal with.
Hopefully. I mean, it's our second kind of once in a generation catastrophe, but
yeah, exactly.
But no, if we don't come out of this having learned something and changing in some sort of really sweeping radical way, whether it's politically or just public health wise, that'll be a real tragedy.
I would think at this point that something has to give, because I've thought it for a long time, but nothing's ever been so imposing as a virus like this that would scare people, normal, everyday people, into really thinking about healthcare, and that the way that our essential workers don't have it. Like, this is really messed up. Like, we really need to do something differently about this. And I think that every single one of these grocery workers and people who are, because what kills me is there's a lot of essential workers who have great jobs and great benefits. And that's good. But there's a lot of essential workers who have horrible jobs and no benefits. And they have 3 of these jobs.
Yeah, it's they're really I mean, hostages to the machine in a lot of ways.
I think I saw something where they used the term hostages, and it's very true because they have to work. There's nothing preventing their landlord from kicking them out.
Yeah.
They have to be at work, and they're essential. They have no sick time. And if they get sick, they've got no safety net, and they're already they're saying that the hospital bills for people coming out healthy after getting coronavirus treatment, $35,000, $40,000. How are you supposed to deal with that if you're someone who works at Market 32?
Right.
Like,
Right.
how are a $42,000 bill? A lot of these people can't afford cars. It's just, it upsets me. And I feel like I need to talk about it. I'm
No,
sorry, I'm kind of just randomly talking about this, but
no, I think it's great that you have a platform and you're using it to talk about something like this. I think it's really invaluable.
yeah, and I like your input. I appreciate your input. I'm not trying to
Well,
like
thank
stomp on your interview
No,
here.
not at all. Not at all.
But it sounds like we're in agreement on that little piece, at least.
Yeah,
That, man.
I think we have the same sort of ideas and the same sort of anxieties gnawing at us both. So
Yeah, and I think,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure us talking is voicing the opinion of a lot of people right now.
I hope
And
so.
it kills me because things like podcasts where we can have a real conversation and be honest and human with each other, so lacking in the mainstream media. Like, where's, the human instead of the fear mongering and the scare tactics and who knows what they're reporting? Like,
Yeah.
there's the real conversations that need to be had about what's happening. Like,
Yeah, I know. I agree. Human interest doesn't sell ads, though.
that's it. No, we live in a society that's completely run by big business profits. And we, the essential workers, these people that don't see a dime of those profits, are the ones that are making these companies run. Like, they make it out as if, if you make $12 an hour, you're the lowest rung of society. But now we're literally saying they're our front line. We are relying on them to survive. So who needs who? We don't need a CEO. We need the grocery workers. We need the nurses. We don't need presidents flying around in private jets and helicopters. We need someone who can help take care of you.
Yeah, notice how all the white collars stopped working and not a ton has really changed in the day-to-day.
Right. Nothing's really changed when you take away the highest rung. And what does that really say? I mean, I guess their claim is that they built these businesses, but they didn't. They really obviously didn't, because the people they hired built the business. Sure, you could be the conductor of the orchestra, but are you going to take credit for the sound?
Right.
Yeah, like, it's just totally nuts to me. Oh, I really hope that people care enough, because people have always felt this way, I think, on a really large scale. But so often people are just hate, they don't want to talk about it, and they don't want to talk about politics, and they don't want to deal with things that are unpleasant. Well, now
the pinkos are coming out of the woodwork now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe we should have talked about this 10 years ago in a more serious way when Ebola was a scare. Even Bill Gates talked about this. We really needed some serious planning for an actual outbreak, and it didn't happen. And why didn't it happen? When, Bill Gates, who, granted, he's a really, really white collar guy, but he's also very smart, and he's a philanthropist. Philanthropist. That word that I can't say right now. He gives a lot of things away to people. Like, he tries to help the world. And when he says, let's throw a bunch of money into being prepared, and none of the other rich people thought that was a good idea. And now look what happened. Like, this is, and meanwhile, people are crying about the economy. They're not even worrying about the grocery workers on the top level. Kills me.
No, this hasn't even the spread and the deaths especially haven't even peaked yet, and we're already moved on, and talking about the economic repercussion of the economic recovery.
And that was the number one thing that they were talking about. They weren't even concerned about the public health. It was can we start working again?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, how long ago was that now? 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago? We actually have to stay closed a lot longer now. Oh, yeah. It's a crazy, crazy world we're living in today. And I think everyone should appreciate that and give themselves a little bit of a break.
Yeah, definitely. There's only no, I agree with you.
So, okay, we've ranted a whole bunch about that one.
No, that felt good though.
Oh, I have friends that have to work right now. And for companies that are literally asking the state for handouts when they make millions upon millions a day. Like every one of their stores makes $1 million a day plus, and they don't think they ought to buy their workers face masks. I don't really understand how that can even be a mentality that these people, like, you don't give them health care. Give them a face mask at the very least.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that one just blows my mind. I really hope that our state doesn't give them masks. And what really kills me about this whole thing is you can buy masks. Like, I don't know what these companies are claiming, because you can go online and buy masks. They might not be medical grade, but you shouldn't be buying those anyway. And that's basically what this grocery store is claiming is, oh, well, we can't get medical grade masks, so the state should give us a handout. You don't need them.
Yeah. No, let's save those ones.
Yeah, you don't
Put
need
those ones
them.
over here.
You could make fabric masks. Like, why don't they have some of their poor workers just cutting fabric masks? Wouldn't that be a valuable thing?
I think that would be good use of an afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they could just get some t-shirts and make a whole bunch of them. They're not the greatest things in the world, but it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing, yeah.
And that's currently what they have right now. Like, it's really upsetting walking in grocery stores right now because most of people, like a lot of the workers, don't have masks yet, even.
Yeah.
And is that because, like, I kind of doubt that's a personal choice. It's probably because they don't have any way to make them, and they're also working all the time, which makes it really hard to make a face mask. Since it's like a craft project, kind of, I have found. I am very bad at making face masks. Oh, so is there anything else you wanted to talk about your Spotify playlist? Are you going to make a Facebook page or anything like that for them, or are they going to live on Spotify?
I think they're gonna live on Spotify, and my plan is to post them on DIY Burlington. Yeah,
that's a great website, by the way. Is that where you saw my post?
Yeah, it is. That's exactly where I saw.
That's so funny. That's where I found so many great people. I love DIY Burlington.
Yeah, it's the best, and even before all of this kicked off, I mean, it's a great resource for folks who, for one reason or another, can't make it out to a show, or for me in particular, like shows sometimes can be really there's a lot of stimulus at a rock show, and that can be hard, and so that page is a really invaluable place to stay connected to folks when you can't go out, whether it's for personal reasons or for quarantine. And I think it's really important to keep that page alive when folks aren't necessarily able to use it as a hey, come to my show.
Right. Oh yeah, the things that people, because that's how I actually got started when I came up with this idea. I went on DIY Burlington in the end of October last year, and I just said, hey, does anyone want to be interviewed? Like, does this seem like something you want? And sure enough, someone got a hold of me immediately. Actually, I think 2 people did, and it was inspiring, and it made me make the podcast. And it's just full of wonderful, great people. And I've actually got to interview Brian.
Nice.
Yeah, he's the greatest. He's like the biggest sweetheart in the world.
Yeah, he's great.
That was so much fun to interview Brian. So I have a lot of love for DIY Burlington. And I also have a lot of love for Big Heavy World, too. I did get to interview Jim, and those guys are just doing such good things.
They're
DIY Burlington, Big Heavy World, good stuff, good community merging and melding. I like it.
Agreed.
And I like the idea of doing these playlists. I really think that'd be cool to kind of, and it'd be cool if you could kind of like, okay, you said that you like the more indie pop kind of stuff. Yeah. So you could make like one playlist, like, oh, these are indie pop specific bands, that everything kind of works together. I'm sure you're doing this anyway because you're making playlists, but that's always the fun of them for me, is kind of like crafting the listener experience. Just
yeah, definitely.
It's kind of like an album you're building, even if it's not, your music. You're creating that hour experience or however long for the listener. So yeah, you can really, send a message.
Yeah, especially now that the radio thing is shaping up to be more of a reality. I'm recording everything at home, and it's been before, when I was just kind of doing the playlists, because I did a couple of those before this sort of materialized. And I was just kind of, as I would hear something and I'm like, oh, I've listened to this song like 4 times this week, I throw it in the playlist, and then just kind of hit shuffle. But having a show to produce every week is definitely broadening those horizons of like, okay, how are we going to sequence this? When am I going to stop and, do a station ID? What is that going to sound like? That's been an experience and something that I had a radio show in college, but this has been a lot more in depth for sure. That was pretty loosey goosey.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm sure when you're in college, you're just kind of having fun. A lot of the radio DJ.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's
kinda,
so.
Yeah, screwing off and hoping that the FCC doesn't tune in.
Yeah. Well, usually most of their transmitters are not the strongest.
That's what I was banking on for sure.
Hopefully there's no feds around. Yeah, we had some at VTC I went to in Randolph. We had the craziest stuff happening on that radio station. And I don't think anyone listened to it, but it'd be like randomly I would tune in for 5 minutes when I was heading back to the dorms, and they'd be like giving out some of like their friends' cell phone numbers and being like, prank call my friend.
That's the best part of college radio, is that no one is listening. So it's just the wild west.
No one's listening to these guys. And it made me wonder, did anyone prank call him, or was I the only person who heard that? Oh, yeah, radio's interesting. I never got to do the DJ thing, but I've heard about these programs. I was going to ask you if you've used any of them. I think they're more for like club DJs. But they will actually analyze a song for like the beat so that you can flow one song.
Nice.
Yeah, like into the next song and not lose the momentum and feeling that you had going in the previous song. It's really interesting because they can like, I think you can like plan it out. So you're like, okay, I want it to get real high energy and slow down, do this, and like do the plan of the energy and then basically fit songs into it that match. Super weird. It seems really interesting though. I know nothing about it.
Well, I got to get my hands on one of those though, because I'm doing it all just kind of manually. But if they make an app,
that's what I was wondering.
For everything.
Could this help you out a little bit? Because I'm sure that
gonna help my workflow for sure.
I'm sure it's like like playlist or DJ software, something like that. I think it exists. I've heard about it, and it seems super cool.
I'm gonna have to look into it.
Yeah, I think that's always fun. I notice it with certain playlists on, I think it's Google Music that I've done it. They're like professionally made playlists that you start playing.
Yeah,
and they're fascinating. Like that last song, like you're hearing the song fade out and then the next song comes in and it actually sounds like it's almost the same.
Yeah.
But it turns into a different song. Like that's so interesting to me how they do that.
Yeah, folks who can do that and do it right. I mean, I'm not one of them. I have nothing but admiration for that.
Well, maybe it's just these tools. Maybe that's all you need.
Maybe that's it. I didn't download the right app.
There probably is an app for actually knowing how the world works. They're probably just making those on their cell phone now.
For sure.
So, did you think of your favorite thing about the area? Did you have enough time to fester?
Oh gosh.
I've had people say everything from the people, the lake, the music scene, mountains. Definitely, I've had people mention the mountains.
Yeah.
And I've had people say everything. It's been interesting. So, did someone say food? I feel like someone said like I like everything, the people, the food, the music. I'm like, yeah, it's impressive because no one's like, oh, I don't really have anything to say, or they're just like,
Oh,
oh,
license plates are green. That's cool.
right, yeah, no, everyone likes something. Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely good things about the area.
I like how we have a lot of Vermont's a really small place, but it's full of just little communities that are insulated and vary a lot in the way people think and the way that people we have the way that people think and the way that people act. But at the end of the day, they all coexist pretty nicely. Yeah,
Very, very true.
yeah, politically, just socially, there are folks here living in a really small space that are living vastly different lifestyles, but at the end of the day, are still neighborly to each other, and I love that a lot.
Yeah, I like that one. That's like my favorite answer that someone's given me so far. We're good neighbors to each other.
Yeah,
You don't have to agree with each other, but we're not mean. Like, we're gonna be
right.
respectful. Respect your neighbor. I like that one a lot. That's like the best response. Thank you for that one. I'm glad I let you fester. Oh, is there anything else that you'd like to cover or mention before we let go?
No, I tune into Big Heavy World 105.9. If you want to hear what I'm listening to week to week, join DIY Burlington and engage with that community. And you'll find me in there. I'm in there a lot.
Awesome. And I will have links to your playlist and to the DIY group and to anything else that I find that we discussed when I go through and edit.
Sounds great.
And that'll all be on the show notes page. I think I might even be able to embed one of your playlists in the show notes page, which might
That
be
would
really
be fancy. That would be
yeah.
high tech.
So much fun talking to you, Remi. Thank you so
likewise.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Remi for being on the show, and thank you all for listening to the end of the show. Please tune into the Big Heavy World radio station, 105.9 FM, and check out Remi's show. It's going to be on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Please hit me up. I want people to talk to burlingtontalks.com. You can contact me there. You can find me on Facebook at Burlington Talks. I have an Instagram account that I haven't been posting on because life is just too hard sometimes. But please get in touch with me, Becca at burlingtontalks.com. That's my email address if you want to get in touch with me. Please do. Thank you so much for listening today. It means so much to me to see every download that comes through, and I just am so happy that I can do this and help support local people doing good things. That's what this is all about. And Remi's doing a great thing. Thanks to Remi. If you want to check out our show notes for this episode, it's going to be burlingtontalks.com/15. Big shout out to Jason Baker for providing the music to the show. I think it's great. Let me know what you think of the music. I'm loving the feedback that I'm getting. I think it's wonderful. Thank you, Jason. Thanks again. Have a great day. And that was what was new in the 802 on 4/20/2020.